Hello everyone, my name is Priya. 大家好，我是李眉君. I come from India and I've been in Taiwan for a really long time. And I'm honored to be invited by the CTCI Foundation to share with you a little bit about my story. I hope you will enjoy it. So first, I will share with you about my life before I came to Taiwan, and then the early years in Taiwan, and then what I do right now. So I was born in India, which is currently one of the largest countries in the world in terms of population. So China and India have the largest populations, and India will soon surpass China. After living in India for just 2 years, my parents moved to Germany. Germany is a country in Europe, and I lived there from the age of 2 to 4. So it was in Germany that I first started school, and German is the first language I learned in school. Before that, in India, I did speak English and also Hindi, which is one of the official languages of India, and Sindhi, which is my mother tongue. And after Germany, we moved to Nigeria. Nigeria is a country in West Africa, and it was colonized by the British, so English is the official language, and it's surrounded by French-speaking countries, so we had to learn French as our second foreign language. However, I don't speak much German or French anymore. After Nigeria, we went back to India briefly, and then my father moved to Taiwan. That was in 1987, and after coming to Taiwan, I started to learn Mandarin. Before coming here, I did not know any Mandarin, and it was in this university, it was the Datong Gongxue Datong Institute of Technology, where my father was a professor of mechanical engineering, and I started my university education there in the Department of Business Management. I knew no Mandarin before coming to Taiwan, and it's thanks to my teachers in the university and also my 39 classmates that I was able to pick up Mandarin so fast in a very short period of time. And as you can see, in Datong, we had to wear uniforms. And the university has changed now. It has become a university, and there is a new building in there called the White House, and many newly wedded couples go there to take wedding pictures inside Datong University. And I spent 4 years in Datong, and that is where I received the CTCI Foundation Scholarship. And I'm very honored that they've invited me back to share a little bit about my life with all of you today. And this is my family, so my father and my mother, and next to me is my younger sister in the pink jacket, and I'm in the blue jacket. And my father's Chinese name is Li Wen because his Indian name is Lalwani, so it sounds like Li Wen. And my mother's Chinese name is Li Ru, Rui de Ru. And my sister's Chinese name is Li Yizhu, Shen Chai Yi de Yi, and Zhu Zi de Zhu. And my name is Li Mei Jun, so that's Mei Mao the Mei, and then Jun Zi the Jun. So we all got very, very local names. So they don't sound like foreigners' names. And we're very grateful to our friend Oh Ying-ju, who gave us these names. And my parents lived here for 4 years, and my sister lived here for 6 years. She studied elementary school in Zhongshan Elementary School, and she also went to Shida Fuzhong up to grade 7 before she went back to India. And then she came back to Taiwan to do her university education in National Taiwan University. But now she lives in Germany. And I finished my undergrad in Datong. After that, I worked in Datong for 2 years before I joined the National Taiwan University for my master's. This is my husband. So that's my wedding photo on the left, where my husband is wearing the white suit. And in India, we wear red for the wedding dress. And just like in Taiwan, red is considered to be very auspicious. And on our 25th anniversary, so 25 years after I got married, I wore the same sari again on the occasion of India's Republic Day. And on the picture on the right, you can see my 2 children. That's my daughter. She's dressed up as the Indian goddess of wisdom, Saraswati. And my son is dressed up as the Indian god of wisdom, Ganesh. So that was during a stage performance for Indian culture. So here you can actually see my son's face, and this is a recent picture that we took just before COVID started. Our whole family visited the Taj Mahal, which is one of the 7 wonders of the world and the most famous building in India. And on the right side is when my parents were invited to Taiwan to when I received the award from Taiwan University. And this is the award that they presented, the Outstanding Alumni Award for 2019. And on the left is an article where I was sharing about an activity by the Immigration Department of Taiwan, where they allow foreign immigrants to borrow an iPad with internet to reduce the digital gap between the local who have access to different services and for the foreigners. So that was a very good event that the Taiwan government did to take care of Taiwan's foreign residents. And so now I'd like to share a little bit about my educational and career background. I finished my PhD from National Taiwan Normal University, 师大翻译所, in 2021. And I've been working as an interpreter for over 20 years. I also helped set up the India Taipei Association when the office first opened with the first ambassador in 1995, and I worked there until 1998. And we've also started a group on Facebook called Indians in Taiwan that helps Indians living here to understand about the environment, if they have any questions about life in Taiwan, where to rent a house, where to buy different things, we help them. I also work with the India Music and Culture Center to promote Indian culture in Taiwan, and we've been doing that for over 20 years now. And it's just a good way to bring the people of Taiwan and India closer together. So as part of my work, I'm an interpreter, like I said, and I interpret for the mayors of Taipei, Ms. Dr. Ke, and also the mayor of New Taipei City, Mayor Ho. And I also interpret for various international conferences. So that's a picture from the Taipei International Convention Center, where we do simultaneous interpretation. I also interpret for various business meetings and focus group, consumer focus group, 消费者座谈会. I also help to host events like when the Nobel laureate Satyarthi visited Zhongshin University in Taichung. I helped to translate and also hosted the event, and I teach Hindi. These are photos of me hosting the Indian Republic Day celebration organized by the India Taipei Association. In addition, I host other kinds of events as well. During COVID, when nobody in the world could play any sports, fans in other countries requested Taiwan to organize a cricket league. Cricket is 英式板球, so we did that. And this is a photo of our visit to the Mazu pilgrimage. There was a whole group of diplomats who were taken to Mazu, and we were able to see that. It was the first time, and the best part was I could get the blessings of Mazu on the same day of my 50th birthday. So this was in 2021, and I was very blessed to have this opportunity. And you can see the picture where I'm holding the flag of the Indians in Taiwan group. So if you would like to see some videos about India or life of an Indian in Taiwan, here are some links. These are different shows that I've been on, and some of them are quite interesting. And if you would like to watch them, please go ahead. Now I'll tell you a little bit about the Indian activities in Taiwan. So the India Taipei Association is the office where you would go to apply for your visa if you want to go to visit India. And in addition to the India Taipei Association, we also have other private associations or groups like the 印侨协会 or the Taiwan Indians Club, and there are also organizations of different states. So India, we have like Tamil Nadu and Gujarat and West Bengal. So all of these different states have their own associations. So here is a list of some of these associations. And of course, I mentioned the Indians in Taiwan Facebook group. We also have a Facebook page, so you can follow the Indians in Taiwan IIT Facebook page if you want updates about Indian activities. And earlier I showed you a picture about cricket. Cricket is 英式板球. So in Taiwan, there are a few clubs that play cricket, like the Formosa Cricket Club or the Taipei Cricket Association. These are also listed here, the cricket clubs. In addition, you might know that India is the source of yoga. It's where yoga started. It's where meditation is practiced by almost everyone. So there are a lot of religious groups in Taiwan that have their roots in India. We have Anand Marga, we have the Art of Living, 生活的艺术, we have ISKCON, the Hare Krishna organization, and many other organizations and temples. So these are all activities that Indians living in Taiwan engage in. So the first one on the list was the India Taipei Association. The association started in 1995, and at that time it was just two people. It was the ambassador and myself. And we started from a suite in the Grand Hyatt, and then we moved to a business center, and then they moved to the International Trade Building, 国贸大楼. So now the India Taipei Association, if you want to go to India and you want to apply for a visa, you go to the 国贸大楼. On the 17th floor, they have an office. The office is so much bigger now. They have almost 20 people working there, and they do a lot more work. Their goal is to promote interaction between India and Taiwan and to facilitate business, tourism, culture, science and technology, and people-to-people contact between the two sides. And there have been many director generals so far. So I worked with the first director general, Mr. Vinod Khanna, and after that, we have had a series of different director generals, and the current director general is Mr. Das, and he's working actively to promote the mandate of India Taipei Association. The other association is the 应侨协会. This is like a chamber of commerce. It is formed by companies owned by Indians. They formed a club, and they have a temple where they organize different events and festivals. So here you can see the list of different festivals that we have. There are some trading companies that used to be here in Taiwan, but when all of the business moved to China, they also moved to China. So this organization still exists, and it started in 1974. This is the temple. So the Indians Association has a temple where you can see the Indian gods, and they organize different festivals. The ladies come there and sing. The children also hold events, and we celebrate our national days over there. So this is the Independence Day of India, celebrated in the Indians Association. They also organize outdoor events and picnics and festivals. The other Indian organization is the Taiwan Indians Club. This is made up of people who import into Taiwan. So the Indians Association is more people who export from Taiwan, and these are the importers. What do they import? They import jewelry and gemstones, so 珠宝类的东西他们会进口. So these are the importers. There's another very big group. The IAT people, the earlier association, they came in the 80s, and this group, Taiwan Indians Club, they came later in the 90s. And these are some of the activities that they hold. There's another group that's the Tamil Sangam. This is of people who are from the state of Tamil Nadu. They also organize a lot of events. We also have some Indian temples in Taiwan. So this is one temple in Tianmu. It's the Shirdi Sai Temple, where they organize different events. And we also have an association called the Satya Sai Education, the Satya Sai organization, and they hold various events around Taipei. They have an English center, and they also have the Chinese language center. So this is an activity by the Chinese language center. So this is how the Indian diaspora, the Indian people in Taiwan, has the importers, the exporters. There are also students, and there are some engineers, and there are some people who work in the large international companies. These are the kind of Indians that we have living here. And the activities that we do in Taiwan, we organize different Indian festivals. We also have a lot of Taiwanese people who learned Indian dance, and they perform around Taiwan. They perform Indian dance, but they're actually Taiwanese people. There are also many Indian movies that you can watch. I'm sure a lot of you have watched Three Idiots, 三个傻瓜, or 我的冠军女儿, or 我的哥哥老师. There are many Indian films that Bollywood is becoming very popular. There are also performances of Indian dance and music that you can see on the stage. Not during COVID, but before and after COVID, we used to have them. There's also many seminars, TV shows, YouTube videos like this one. And of course, there's so many Taiwanese people who do yoga. Yoga came from India, and meditation and yoga and Ayurveda are all a very important part of our daily lives. Another very important Indian thing in Taiwan is the Indian food, Indian restaurants, and Indian cuisine. So in part 2 of my sharing, I'm going to share more about these things, more information about Indian culture and movies and the food and also cricket. So these are some of examples of the festivals that we had. We had a Holi festival celebrated in the Dajudan. Before Dajudan was built, it was an empty ground. So we celebrated Holi there. I think this was in 2006. We also organized the Indian Cultural Festival by the India Music and Culture Organization, and there are many articles published in the newspaper about that. These are all photos from the Indian Culture Festival. This festival has been held from the year 2002. So it's already 20 years. Every year we organize the Indian Culture Festival. We invite groups from India to come to Taiwan and perform. There's a very good friend of mine, Mr. Jeffrey Wu Delang Lao Shi. He set up the Indian Museum. So you can go there and you can see different displays about Indian religion and Indian stories and mythology, and also Indian spices. So this is a sculpture of the Indian epic, the Mahabharata, and the other one is about the Ramayana, two very important Indian historical stories. And these are posters of the Indian Culture Festival. You can see the one from 2013 and from 2021. And this is a picture, an actual photo from the Indian Culture Festival in 2021. So I was a host in the green dress, and it was attended by the Vice Minister, Tian Zhongguang Zizhang was there, and also representatives from the New Taipei City government. It was held in Santong, Yichun. It's a Junchun. It's a beautiful day, and all of these dancers you see in the Indian dresses, they're all Taiwanese people. They're all Taiwanese ladies, and they really dance very, very beautifully. These are other events that are held in Taiwan. So we have International Yoga Day, and also we had a visit by Mr. Satyarthi, who is a Nobel laureate. And the two gentlemen on the right side are actually Japanese. They're from Japan, Waka-san and Yo-san. One plays the sitar and the other plays the tabla. And there's so many different kinds of people who are brought together because of Indian culture, and that feels really good. And the first yoga day, we had 1,000 people doing 108 sun salutations in National Taiwan University, the playground. 国际瑜伽日，我们在台大操场有1000个人做了108个拜日式。So that's the photo on top. It was really a very great event. And in 2020, we organized Diwali. Diwali is like the Indian Hindu New Year. And it was the first time that Taiwan, the Taiwanese government organized Diwali in Taipei Bingguan. You know, I don't know if you know about Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan. The president had lunch with her in Taipei Bingguan. So we also had the Diwali celebration in Taipei Bingguan with all of the guests and Minister Wu and Vice Minister Tian. And during that event, we had performances by different dance groups, and it was a very special occasion, and it was very nice to be able to celebrate that event with so many friends. So it was held once in 2020 and then again in 2021. We also organize other events in Taiwan for happy things and for sad things. So these are examples of different events that we've had that the Indian community holds. This is the cricket tournament that we had in 2020 when COVID just started. So Taiwan organized the Taipei T10 Cricket League. So you can see that the videos on YouTube. And in June, we also organized a bike rally because at that time, Taiwan, the COVID was not very bad in Taiwan, but other countries it was really bad. So Taiwan was sending supplies to other countries, including India. So we organized a bike rally. Other events that we hold. The Indian community is very close-knit and we often get together. This is the Indians in Taiwan groups that I mentioned. And if you would like to know more about India or about things related to India, you're welcome to follow our page. So now I'd like to give you a brief introduction of India. India today is not what India was in the past. India was a much larger country and it covered what is present-day Pakistan and Bangladesh and even up to Nepal. And this whole area was also ruled by the British for some years. And when the British left India, it was then split up into smaller parts. And later I'll show you the way the map of India looks today. India is a country that is very diverse. People often say that it's not just one country. It's like the United States. It is a federation of different communities and people who speak different languages and look different and eat different food and wear different clothes. So it's really a very, very diverse country. But it's a blend of all of these different cultures and religions and races and languages. India's history in terms of civilization dates back 5,000 years. So we often say the Chinese civilization is 5,000 years old. Well, so is the Indian civilization, and it started from the Indus Valley civilization in the north, and it then spread out all over. And it's the other sacred river that we have in India is called the Ganges, the Hanghe, and also the Himalayan mountain range is also in India. And India's history has been affected by invasions from different countries. So the Mughals, the Arabs, the British, Dutch, all of these different colonizers have colonized India. However, India has never colonized any other country. The whole education system in India is actually very competitive, similar to Taiwan. So there are lots of exams and there are a lot of cram schools and tuition. You have to go to extra classes to take all of those exams. And India produces so many doctors and engineers and scientists, and they go out all over the world. And we'll share more about that later. So this is the way the map of India looks at the moment. It is made up of different states. So each of these different colors that you see here are the states, and there are also 6 union territories. And many of them have very different languages, and I'll share more about the diversity later. So the official name of India is the Republic of India, and the countries that surround India are Bangladesh on one side, Bhutan, Burma, and China on top, Nepal, and this side it's Pakistan. And the whole bottom part is the ocean, Indian Ocean. The capital of India is New Delhi. And India, actually, currently the population of India is estimated at about 1.4 billion people. The Indian currency is the Indian rupee. This information is old from 2010 when $1 was equal to 45 Indian rupees, but now, very recently, it has already reached about 78 to 80 Indian rupees to $1. So the value of the Indian rupee has become half in 2022 of what it was in 2010. The Indian climate is very diverse. So up in the Himalayan areas, there's snow and it's really cold. If you come lower, it gets very hot. And we don't have a winter and summer, but we have a dry season and the monsoon. The monsoon is the yuji, so when it rains really heavily and there's a lot of flooding. The ethnic groups in India are made up of the Indo-Aryan groups, which have fairer skin, and they form about 72%. And we also have the Dravidian ethnicity, which is more in the south. They have a little bit darker skin. And then we have the Mongoloid ethnicity, which actually looks more like Taiwanese people because they have fair skin and straight black hair and smaller eyes. So India has a very diverse range of ethnicities as well. So all of these people that you see on the slide here are Indians, and you can see how different they look. So the first gentleman, the police officer, he is darker skin, and the second lady, if you recognize her, her name is Aishwarya Rai, and she was Miss World. And you can see that her features look more European. And there are people with long hair and short hair and different mustache. The gentleman in the middle is a Sikh, Sikh, that is an Indian religion, and what he's wearing on his head is called a turban. So they have, their religion requires them to wear a turban, and they don't cut their hair, even the men. And you can also see the more tribal people. They're very similar to the indigenous people of Taiwan. If you see their clothes, they're quite similar. And they're also people from the northeast states of India who look very much like ethnic Chinese people, and there are also some tribes that look like African people. So you can see that the range of the diversity of the appearance of Indian people is so different, so varied. We also have diversity in languages. According to the 2001 census, the number of languages in India is over 100. 122 languages in India are spoken than more than 10,000 people. That's a lot of languages. So sometimes for two Indian people to communicate, they have to use English because they don't have a common Indian language. In addition to the 122 bigger languages, there are also some smaller languages or mother tongues or dialects, and these amount to over 200. The official languages, that means the languages recognized by the states, are 22. The main language in India, which is spoken by people in the north, is called Hindi, 印地语. And another official language. So India has two official languages, Hindi and English. Some of the other languages that are spoken in India include Bengali, which is the official language in the state of West Bengal, Telugu, which is the official language in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, Marathi, which is spoken in Maharashtra, that's where Mumbai is, and then Tamil is spoken in Tamil Nadu. Tamil is one of the ancient languages of the world. It is a classical language. So Tamil and Fanwan, Sanskrit, these are two classical Indian languages. But Tamil is still spoken in Tamil Nadu. Sanskrit is not spoken in daily language anymore. It's more like Wenyan for Chinese. And the other language is Urdu, and Urdu came from Pakistan. It was spoken by the Muslims. And we have Gujarati, which is spoken in the state of Gujarat, and so on. All of these languages have their state. My language is called Sindhi. We don't have a state of Sindh in India because when the British cut India into two parts, Pakistan and India, our state, Sindh, got split into Pakistan. So our state, Sindh, is now in Pakistan. So we don't have a state in India. That's why you will find Sindhis spread out all over India and even all over the world. And this is our money. So on the Indian paper money, you will see that the amount, for example, this is a 1,000 rupee, or if it's a 10 rupee bill, it will have the number written in different languages. So it's written in 14 different languages below the English. So there's a total of 17 languages are printed on the rupee note. So English and Hindi are on the front, and the other 15 languages are on the back. So that shows the diversity of languages in India. So here is a language map of India, and you can see the yellow areas are where people in these areas speak Hindi, Hindi, but the orange area, people usually don't speak Hindi that much, or they're more used to speaking their local language or the more Dravidian languages, and the green areas are where they speak the more Mongoloid, the Han 汉藏语系. So there's different language systems around India. English is one of the main languages in India. Like I mentioned earlier, sometimes for two Indian people to communicate, they have to speak in English. Why is that? Because English is taught in schools in India. It is one of the official languages, and many people speak it either as their first language or their second language or even their third language, because they learn the official state language and they learn Hindi and then they learn English. So it's their third language. If you calculate all of the people in India who speak English, then it will be more than the population of USA and UK put together. There are many, many people in India who speak English. However, they speak English with an Indian accent. So it's different. Sometimes it's difficult for non-Indians to understand the accent, but if you practice and if you listen some more time, you'll be able to follow the Indian accent as well. Okay, so India is also the land of religions. There are many major religions in the world that started from India. For example, Hinduism, 印度教, and Sikhism, 锡克教, also Jainism, 衾纳教. These religions, and Buddhism, of course, which is very important in Taiwan. A lot of Taiwanese follow Buddhism. So these four religions started in India, and India has a lot of gurus, people doing meditation and yoga. So it's a very spiritual country as well. But we don't have a national religion. So everybody's free to practice whatever religion they want. And the majority are still Hindus, and that's about 80%, and about 15% are Muslims. There are more Muslims in India than in Saudi Arabia or in United Arab Emirates. It has one of the largest Muslim populations. And also we have about 2% of Sikhs, and we have some Jains, Buddhists, and we also have Christians. And if you put all these names of these religions together and you look at the red rectangle, that spells India. And that shows how diverse India is. It has all of these different religions. And because it's so diverse in religions, we also have a lot of festivals. Some people say India has 365 festivals in a year because every day there is some festival. It's not always a holiday, but somebody is celebrating something every day. So these are some festivals of India. We have the Dussehra and Diwali, and each state also may have their unique festival, and each festival will have some traditions. So for example, if you look at the picture over here, you can see there's colors. So this is called Holi, the festival of Holi, where people apply color on each other's faces. And this festival is celebrated in Taiwan. So if you follow our Indians in Taiwan page, next time there's a Holi festival, you can attend and you can join the festivities. Down here, we can see this is Diwali. It's like the Hindu New Year. It's also a very important festival, and that's what we celebrated in Taipei Bingguan last year and the year before that. And because of this diversity, we also have so many different kinds of cuisine in India. So here on the side, you can see a South Indian dinner plate. It's served on a banana leaf, and there's rice and there's curries on top, and they eat off the banana plate and banana leaf. And this is a North Indian thali where you see all of these different curries. They're served in little bowls, and all Indian food cuisine will have a lot of spices. And I'll share more about Indian food a little later. So I suggest you can get something to eat because you will feel very hungry when I'm talking about food. But before we talk about the food, I want to share about movies. I'm sure you've all seen at least one Indian film. And I think in Taiwan, the most popular Indian film or Bollywood film would be Three Idiots, Sanga Shakwa. But that's not all. There are so many other films as well. All of the films that you see here on the screen were released in theaters in Taiwan. And For example, 帝国玫瑰 is very grand. It's about a war and as a the beautiful actors. So Mr. Hrithik Roshan and Aishwarya Rai, you saw her picture earlier. She was Miss World. And so this is a story of romance. Devdas is a tragedy, but it's also a very touching story and it has beautiful songs. So if you like to listen to Indian songs and watch Indian dances, then you can watch Devdas, 宝莱坞生死恋 and 三个傻瓜 you all know. But there are also other films that were also released in Taiwan and are really very nice that you can see. For example, with the 冠军女儿 Dangle, and there's Padman and Toilet, and all of these movies are from the north, so they are in Hindi, but they're also films made in other states that are not in Hindi, like Tamil or Telugu. So here on the right, you will see this movie called Bahubali. Bahubali was made in two parts, part one and part two. They were released in Taiwan and it's from South India. Many Taiwanese people really like those films, so I would suggest that you can watch. The size of the Indian film industry is much larger than Hollywood. 1,000 films are made in India in a year, which is really a large number. And it's a very important part of the entertainment for Indian people. Next, I'd like to talk to you about or introduce some very famous Indian people. So you might all know of Mahatma Gandhi. He is our national father. And in addition, we have the first Indian prime minister, the woman Indian prime minister, who was Indira Gandhi. We have a lot of astronauts. We have holy people, like religious people. There's Mother Teresa. And you might have heard that there are many international company CEOs who are Indian. So the head of Microsoft and Google and Pepsi and a lot of banks, they're all people of Indian origin. So India does export a lot of talent around the world. So a little bit about the Indian economy. India has both the traditional economy and the modern economy. The traditional economy is made up of course, agriculture and fisheries. There's also a lot of manufacturing. India is now trying to attract international investment to make in India, to manufacture in India. India is also well known for its textiles, so cotton material and cotton wear, and also its handicrafts. There are many bags and, for example, earrings and other handicrafts made in India. And of course, tourism is very important. India, of course, it stopped during COVID, but after that, we hope that tourists can start coming back to India. And of course, banking. These are the more traditional and service industry. And in the modern economy, India and Indians are playing a very important role in the global IT industry and the software industry. So there are so many software engineers who are from India. There are the call centers that are outsourced to India, and many healthcare services. So you can see that the top medical consultants for President Biden and for CNN, they're all Indians. And even the UK elections now, one of the candidates is of Indian origin. So Indians have spread out around the world and they're really contributing to whichever society they live in. And India's economy also is growing. There's a initiative by the government to increase digital awareness and digitalization of the economy, and they're providing internet and Wi-Fi and iPads to people in the rural areas to reduce the digital gap. So I promised all of you that I would be telling you about Indian food, and I hope you all have something to munch on while you listen to this section. There are lots of different Indian snacks and dishes that are popular around the world, including in Taiwan. And some of my favorite ones are, for example, samosa and pakora. These are fried snacks that go very well with tea, Indian tea, that you see on the right. And the next one is papad. Papadum is a crispy snack which could be fried or baked. And next we have chicken tikka and naan. Both of these are made in a tandoori oven. Biryani is a kind of flavored rice, and it could be chicken flavor or lamb flavor or shrimp or vegetarian. and it is often had with raita, which is a kind of yogurt salad. Dal is lentil, like 绿豆仁 or different kinds of 豆仁, and it goes very well with plain white rice. And this is the everyday food for an Indian person. It's what your mom would cook for you. It's comfort food, dal with rice. Gulab jamun and kheer are Indian desserts, and I have to warn you, they are very, very, very sweet. So please don't put an entire gulab jamun in your mouth at once. Take a small piece with a spoon and taste it first. Kheer is not that sweet, but gulab jamuns are very sweet. Here we have the drinks, tea and lassi. Lassi is a yogurt drink, and it's very good for digestion. Paneer is like Indian tofu, but tofu is made of beans and paneer is made of milk. It's called cottage cheese. Butter chicken and chana masala are two of the most famous Indian curries. Butter chicken is like nayo ji kali, and then chana masala is in do. So these are, if you go to an Indian restaurant, you must have these two. And pani puri is street food. It's like in Taiwan we have lu wei. So in India we have pani puri, and it's very spicy. If you go to India and you have pani puri, please be careful. In Taiwan, some of the restaurants also serve pani puri. And kebab is like rou chuan, and it's made with different kinds of meat, and it's really very tasty because some people are vegetarian. Actually, in India, about 60 to 70% of the people are vegetarian. So we also have vegetable kebabs as well. And namkeen is just like snacks. It's like lingzui. Just you can have it with when you visit guests. So we're going to talk a little bit about Indian food culture, a little bit about the history and how diverse it is, and why is it so diverse? What brings in the richness into Indian food? And I'm going to share with you Indian foods from different parts of India. We will talk a little bit about the flavors and the spices, and also a little bit about how and when and what Indian people eat. So the main characteristics of Indian food are that it is so famous. All over the world, in every country, you will find Indian food. Some might be some of the more expensive restaurants, or they might be the smaller, more affordable restaurants. And also sometimes you just have some people who make it at home and they sell it. So for example, even in Taiwan, we have some people who cook Indian food and they sell it to their students for daily eating because the restaurant food is too expensive for them. And the Indian food in the north, south, east, and west is all different, and central. And India is a spice heaven. There's so many different kinds of spices. Sometimes you might buy a mixed curry powder, kali fen. But in India, we don't use kali fen. Every home has their own different ratio. They have their own way to make. They put different spices in different ratios, so you can't have one kali fen to give you all of those flavors. Every home or every mom adjusts it differently. So Indians don't eat only kali. We have other food also, okay? And each region has its own unique foods and unique specialties. And because we have so many religions and festivals, for each of those festivals, we also have special foods. So why is Indian food so diverse? It is because we have had the influence of all of the colonizers and the people who came into India in the ancient times. So we have influence from the Greeks and the Egyptians, the Romans, Portuguese, Mongolian influence, and the Britishers. And also because of the climate in India, some places it's very hot, some places it's very cold. So the weather has also affected what Indian people eat. The other thing is religion, because India has so many Hindus, so you find that there are many people who are vegetarian, but we also have Muslims, and Muslims don't eat pork, and Hindus don't eat beef. So you find that there's not much beef and pork in India, but there's more chicken and fish and shrimp and lots of vegetarian food. Also, agriculture has influenced Indian cuisine. So different areas grow different kinds of foods and vegetables. So that has also affected what people in different regions eat. So I mentioned earlier that all over India has different kinds of food. So in North India, we have the state of Kashmir. We have Kashmiri food, Rajasthani, Punjabi, and Madhya Pradesh food. In West India, we have Gujarati, Maharashtrian, and Goan food. Goa is a state of India that was ruled by the Portuguese. So the food here has more European influence. In South India, we have the states of Tamil Nadu, and we have Karnataka, Kerala, and Andhra Pradesh, and they all have their own food style. And in East India, we have Bengali food, Odia food, and Assamese food. Assam might sound familiar to you because in Taiwan you can buy Assamu Naita. So Assam is actually a state in India, and its food, its cuisine is also very unique. So North Indian food is famous for its spices, and there's a lot of meat dishes. So a lot of people in the north eat meat, and because it was influenced by the Mughals, so we have a lot of biryani, like hui fan, and very spicy curries. This is the tradition of North Indian food. East Indian food is known because it's close to the ocean. So they eat a lot of seafood. Their fish curry is very famous. They make fish in many different ways. And the most famous thing about East Indian food is their desserts. So this is rasgulla, and they also have gulab jamun, lots of different kinds of very, very sweet sweets. And in West India, it's mostly vegetarian because it's near the states of Gujarat and Rajasthan. Very spicy. It's more on the hot side. And they also have a lot of different kinds of desserts. South Indian food is it's a bit different from North Indian food. Also a lot of vegetarian, but also because it's near the ocean, so they eat fish. And instead of rice and the bread, the Indian bread or roti or naan, they eat what's called dosas and idlis and varas with the different curries. And they also have the banana leaf. In some states, they eat on the banana leaf. There are many food concepts that are unique to India, and you might have heard of this Song Tan Yuan, Song Tan He. So there's a person who carries around this biandang bento box. It's a steel compartmentalized lunchbox, and they don't make the food; they only deliver. So the food is made by the mom or the wife at home, and these people, the dabba wala, so the box is called dabba, and vala means person. So the dabba wala takes all of these thousands of boxes, the piendang, from the house and delivers it to the office or to the school for the husband or for the child. And that's their business. And the next day they also take the box back. Okay. And usually it works very well. There's a Harvard 哈佛大学管理学院个案研究 about this business, about Dabavala, because like how do they transport so many boxes without making a mistake? Of course, sometimes they make a mistake and then it becomes an Indian movie. 所以有一部印度电影就是讲那个 Dabavala 送错了，然后就产生恋情。It's very nice. You can watch that movie. Another unique food concept in India is the langar, which is the free kitchen. We talked about the 习客教. So 习客教的这个庙叫做 the temple 叫做 Gurdwara. Gurdwaras will have a free kitchen all day. People can come there and sit down and eat. And the thing there, everybody's equal, whether you are rich or poor or Indian or foreigner or man or woman, everybody will go there and sit on the floor and cover their hair and sit and eat. And there will be people who will serve you. So that's called langar. And sometimes in other countries also, the gurdwaras will organize langar, but this started from India. Another Indian food concept is the thali. Thali is one big plate with many small bowls of different curries, and you will have rice and the bread. And in India, if you eat thali in India, it's 吃到饱 or 吃到饱. So you can just keep eating. They will keep serving you food until you say, no, please, no more. But in Taiwan, if you eat thali, it's too expensive, so it's not all you can eat. But the concept of thali is the unlimited food idea. And another unique thing in India is about the bread. So I mentioned roti, that's 全麦烤饼 roti. And then there's another one called naan. Naan is the most famous, naan ping. That is made with white flour and it's made in the tandoori oven. And there are also parathas, and there are some breads that are made like in the shape of a ball. This is a paratha and this is a roti. And this is not all. There are more kinds of Indian bread. Another unique concept is the lubian tan or the lubian xiaochi dhaba. And for us Indians, we feel that dhaba food tastes better than the restaurant food. But if you're traveling to India, please be careful when you eat dhaba food. Make sure you only eat food that is cooked. I would not suggest drinking like drinks that are not made with bottled water. So just be careful of your stomach. I don't want you to get sick if you go to India, but dhaba food is really tasty. Also, the fast food in India is very unique. It's different from other places. So whether you order pizzas from Domino's or you order burgers from McDonald's, it'll be different. It's not the normal things you get here. There are special flavors, like you might have lamb in the burger and you might have a potato patty, or even on the pizza you might have lamb or other flavors. So very interesting fast food. You should try fast food in India when you go there. Another unique concept is these chaat shops or sweet shops. So you find them along the street and you can have different varieties of salty snacks or sweet desserts there, and they're very tasty. I prefer to eat here rather than in a restaurant. Another unique concept I think that Taiwanese people will find interesting is India's Chinese food. So the Chinese food you get in India is very different from the Chinese food you get in Taiwan. I don't know if you've seen these things in maybe Gongbao Jiding may be the same, but the chao mian, it's very different. It's more like Kejia chao mian. And the chili pop, the chili chicken, like the drumsticks here, that's also, I haven't been able to find that in Taiwan. It's a very unique taste. And another one is a Manzhou Gongwan. But in India, it's vegetarian. So it's called Veg Manchurian, and it's very popular. And the last one is our mouth freshener. So after you finish eating an Indian meal, you will get some things in a bottle like this, and you put that in your mouth, and it's got some spices that help you with digestion and give you like a fresh breath. It's like 口香糖, like 口气清新. So it just helps you to have a nice taste in your mouth after you eat. So that is the introduction of the unique food concepts of India. Now I'll tell you a little bit about the spices. So India has so many different spices. You might hear the word masala. Masala means 综合香料 or 香料 in India. And masala could be wet or dry. And every home in India will have a little box like this with a cover. And it has all the different masalas or spices that they use for cooking. So you can see chili powder and turmeric, 辣椒粉, 姜黄粉, and 孜然子 or 香菜粉, and so on, so many. And for every dish, you use it in a different quantity. And all of these spices are actually good for health. So I'm going very fast because we don't have much time today. Here I talked about the different ways of cooking Indian food. So they're like frying and baking and roasting. These are all different ways of cooking Indian food. If you want to know more, or if you would like to listen to the complete version of this presentation, then you can go to YouTube and search for 印度研究李眉君 and 印度饮食文化, and you will find the whole 2-hour presentation where I talk about all the different kinds of Indian cuisines. And earlier we talked about festivals. So during the different festivals, we have different kinds of food, right? So since every 365 festivals in a year. That means every day there's a festival. But there are some major festivals where we have holidays, and on those festivals, people will also wear new clothes, and they'll have special foods, and they will greet each other, and they will share. Just like in Taiwanese culture and Chinese culture, on festivals, on New Year, we go and share with people, right? So similarly, in India also, we have these festivals, Dasara, Diwali. Those are Hindu festivals. Eid is a Muslim festival, and Holi is also a Hindu festival where they put color on the faces. And Christmas, of course, is more Western, so we have Western foods as well. So you can learn about all of this in that YouTube video. I also shared about how to make some simple dishes. There are many recipes on YouTube. You can see how to make Indian food at home. All you need is the spices. So there are lots of chicken dishes and vegetarian dishes. And when Indian people eat meals, they like to eat it like together with sharing in a thali, like we mentioned before. And before we end, I'd like to share with you, these are movies related to Indian food. So if you get a chance, you can watch some of these movies. They're really quite interesting. This is the one I told you about. The 便当送错便当就产出恋情. That's this movie, Lunchbox. And there are other movies called Khichdi, Angare, Jinikam, and this one you might know. This is 舅舅蔡英文，不是那个蔡英文，舅舅他的英文很菜，所以要救救他的英文。In Hindi, it's called English Vinglish. It's a beautiful movie, and I think you'll enjoy it. So if you get a chance to watch that, you can do that as well. So on that note, I would like to end today's sharing. I hope you enjoyed it. Please follow us on Indians in Taiwan IIT if you would like to know more about Indian culture and Indian events in Taiwan. And recently we've been celebrating 75 years of Indian independence, and we've shared 75 stories about India and Taiwan on the IIT Indians in Taiwan page. And if you would like to know more about me, please follow my page. That's Priya Lee Translation and Consulting. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.